All right, welcome to the P114 Filmmakers Podcast. This is Season 1, Episode 6. I'm Jesse Knight.
I'm Randall Lanier.
And I'm Aiden Ford.
And we're here to talk about all things film-related. Take it away, Randall.
Well, I would just, I thought we'd start out this podcast when maybe even to the end of the month. We'll talk about, with it being October, I was thinking horror kind of as a subject. We could talk about we'll talk about all kinds of different things. Me and Aiden have been shooting some stuff, and we could just talk about horror in general, maybe some movies that we liked, and what horror means to us, I guess, in respect. And I think the first thing I want to talk about is the horror, which you brought up that was a horror movie, but for some reason I never even couldn't connect into my mind the movie I just did, which I'm editing right now. I'm almost done with it, called Ghost Girl. It's basically about parents who lost a child, and she comes back to them as a ghost form and tells them to be good people, whatever type thing. And I never thought about that being a horror movie per se. I mean, I don't know what I would have put it in, what genre I would have put it in, but right. I guess that's probably the one that I'd have to do it.
For me, the only connective tissue for that is you got a ghost that it's around, which is generally like ghosts, Halloween.
Right.
You can make that kind of connection there.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for some reason I just didn't even put it in my head.
I get it.
But my concept for it was that, an idea or whatever I got that for it was kind of, it's being dedicated to my mom who passed away in 2015, and it's basically my idea was for it. This is kind of indirect, that I would, she would visit me and she would tell me everything is all right. Don't mourn. You can mourn for me, but don't live your life, continue on what you're doing and everything like that.
Right.
That's kind of the concept I got from
Sure.
it. I brought it out more than in the movie.
Right.
But it just, that's what my initial idea, whatever, was for. Which I had to look back at my own thing and saying, okay, that's what I did, because I didn't even think about that when I was writing it.
Of course, the point could be argued as to whether or not it's horror or not. But for me, it kind of fits without a ghost and stuff.
You could say drama, I guess. That'd be probably the only other genre.
Drama. Yeah,
something like that. Supernatural, maybe, I don't know, but something, just that's come as close as you can get to the
right. It's off to the edge of the umbrella of horror.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not because everybody thinks that brings up another thing of horror. Everybody thinks somebody brings up horror, they think of Jason. It pictures in their mind already Jason or
Freddy Krueger
or anything like that. A ghost coming out and going boo.
Right.
But that's there's a whole kinds of different.
Oh yeah, and you got Christmas
levels.
Carol, which of course is a bunch of ghosts.
Yeah,
stuff, but you don't really think of
but
it
it's
as
not horror.
No, not at all.
It has scary moments.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, depends on what version. Some of them, the cheaper versions, you don't have as many
The ghost of Christmas Future is always death.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a horrific image.
Right. And so, I mean, I think there may be different levels of horror, maybe
Sure.
a lighter horror or light or
Right.
dark.
Like light horror would be Ghostbusters, which isn't really horror, but it's got the little tropes of it.
The original one.
Yeah, the original, yes.
We're not going to get into that.
The new one was a horror, but in a different kind of way.
Yeah, that's a horrible movie.
Yeah.
But anyway. Sorry. I know a lot of people are going to scream about that one. But anyway,
hopefully. Where are you comments?
Right. But that's what I have written another movie or a treatment, if you will, or not a script for another horror / kind of supernatural thing too. But that's what I would not mind filming that at some point in time maybe. But I'm not going to get into it because I want nobody to steal it. But anyway, I think it's an interesting idea. But that's kind of what I've been doing right now. And
you're in the editing phase right now,
Yeah.
so you've had a little bit of special effects to do with the ghost. And,
Right. And it's been going pretty good. Like I said, I'm almost done with it. Nothing long. And so that's what's been going on with me right now as much as horror goes. Aiden, you have had some stuff going on too that you want to talk about that, or?
I do. Let's see. Well, the project that I'd rather talk about the project that I'm working on right now because it's more personal than the other one. The one that I'm working on right now, I'm not going to go into what it's about, just the process more than anything, because that's the most interesting part about it all. Because you're going to see what it's about, you're going to watch it, but you're not going to know what it took to get to that point. Right now we're in the process of, I just wrote the script, which took me a while because I'm not really into writing scripts, but I've also gathered everybody that's going to be involved except for maybe 2 people right now. I'm still looking for somebody to do the sound. Then there's buying stuff for the movie, which I wouldn't even put myself in a low budget. I would put myself in a no budget. Like, I would consider $50 a no budget. That's not even a budget. You can't buy nothing with $50. But
even like $3,000 is a no budget.
Yeah, and that's scary, the fact that that's no budget, because I would love to have $3,000 for my movie right now.
For sure.
But yeah, so like, we went and shopped for some stuff it is a horror movie, so we shopped for the Munster I got me a makeup artist, and she's helping me buy all the stuff and figuring out what to get, and she's obviously gonna make it. I'm just super excited to do it because I got a real gaffer. Mr. Quaid's gonna come to my house and we're gonna shoot it because it's located. Yeah.
Who's doing makeup?
Jenna Sawyer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Jenna Sawyer is doing my makeup. This is her first movie, so it's obviously a short, but she's done some good makeup. I have to give it to her. She's really good. She knows her stuff. She's an amateur like I am when it comes to DPing. I'm an amateur, but I do the best that I can do, and you can tell that I put my all into it. So I'm nervous for the editing part of it. Yeah. Because I don't know how it's gonna. I'm just scared something's gonna happen. This is that point in your life where when you do amateur things that you love, or you're just getting out of the amateur. No, I'm not out of the amateur portion of this.
I'm still an amateur. So
yeah, I was about to say, like, you really. I don't know what makes you not an amateur, but anyways, I'm nervous about editing it because I just hope I do a good job, and I'm pretty confident. It's mine. It's my story. I have a vision for it. So, but anyways, that's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
And this is a personal story per se. I'm not getting. I know you don't want to get into it, but I just like this is kind of something maybe a childhood something or whatever.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I had this horrible nightmare, and I can tell you the nightmare because I kind of went away from the nightmare, but it has a lot to do with it. When I was a kid, I had this nightmare that there was a lady under my bed. Well, I used to sleep with my mom up until I was 16. Maybe not quite 16, 15, which isn't a big difference. But yeah, I just loved my mom. I loved sleeping with her. And I had a dream that I was in my room and the woman was under my bed. Well, then when I woke up, when I actually woke up, I was in my room. Because in my dream I ran to my mom's room because I was started in my room. But when I was a kid, like I said, I always slept with my mom, so I was already in her room sleeping. So I woke up in my room, my actual room, where I thought I was running away from, but actually I ran to my room. So that being complicated, I had this horrible image since then of this lady, this creepy lady with hair, and I just wanted to bring her to life. I thought it was a really gross dream, something that just kind of always stuck with me. Now you forget dreams. So this is just one that I kind of just wanted to bring to life and see what I could do with it. And we're about to find out how it looks.
So I'm sure it's gonna do well for you.
I'm gonna try. I try really hard not to look like an amateur, even though that's kind of impossible to do.
To me, with the stuff I've done, if you said it's personal, that's the best. It's something personal, whether it be something so we don't want to keep secret or something you just want to let out. You definitely can. It helps you. It helps your drive.
It does
to do it.
You are right about that, because if I were to I had created this story that I still want to make, and I think I'm going to make it after this movie, because I have a lot of hope in it. There's something about it that it screams different. What I'm creating right now, or about to create with Mr. Quaid, is kind of been used a lot in especially the short film genre, because it's super easy. It's in the bedroom at night, person, monster. Not saying they're not interesting, but there's a story I have that I really want to bring to life. It's just kind of complicated. It's like a psychological thing. I'm not really about that life. I'm not a writer, and I don't really have that kind of brain power for it. But part of me thinks I can do it. So once I get the script, I want to really try to shoot it. And that's the thing, though, is forcing yourself to get out of your comfort zone, especially when it comes to writing. Because even though you're a writer, you know, it's like if you didn't pick up a camera.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to pick up a camera.
Well, see, that's the thing about with that camera, you're telling a story with your camera.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're writing a script where you think you're not, believe it or not, you're writing a script with your camera. It's just that, you know, you're just not putting it down on paper.
Yeah,
that's
true.
pretty neat, interesting
And,
way to think about it.
That is true.
So it just, you know, that's the thing about it. I'm writing on paper and not doing it with a camera or whatever. That's why, I mean, you saw what I wrote about it. Recently we did something to get, I wrote a script for you.
Yeah.
And you saw I kind of wrote it as a, maybe a little more featurist kind of thing, where it was more of a smaller thing you wanted to have or whatever. And
Which I
see some dialogue I had to be cut here and there.
Which I appreciate so much more because, like I said to you earlier, having more dialogue, being able to cut it, and it's kind of like the editing room. I'd rather have more footage to cut with, more options. And with your writing, it gives me more ideas. If you give me an idea, you have too much dialogue for me, at least I can go off and cut a lot out of it and take some of that idea, create a shorter version. If you're just giving me short dialogue, nothing's to it, I can't even imagine anything out of this. Or if I have to imagine too much, then I'm like, what'd you do?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I appreciate having more dialogue, kind of like more footage.
Right.
But yeah, that should be pretty fun.
I like the creative process too. I mean, I like us just sitting there at the computer. I'm not going to go into detail what to do. I'm just saying that I like to sitting at a computer saying, okay, this is good. Do this. We can do that. Whatever. I like that creative process. It reminded me, like I told you about that movie we did, the turkey movie or whatever, which Jordan, that's what I felt like because me and Jordan were sitting around or whatever. Some people would be behind us throwing in something or whatever. But I like that creative process, and that's what made that movie, doing that movie fun.
Yeah.
Because it was just, everybody was putting their 2 cents in. Hey,
that's how it should be.
Yeah. Maybe there's nobody was a tyrant saying, well, this is going to be whatever, and hey, how about this? No, we're not going to do that. It was no denying anything. It was just like everybody's just throwing in their 2 cents.
And it worked out. Sometimes it's not going to work out.
No,
but it's nice when it does.
Yeah. I mean, I just like I realized then, right then and there, I think, because I'd been in school for a little while and I wasn't sure if I really wanted to get into a lot of this stuff. So, and because I didn't know where my place was, I couldn't seem like where my place could be or whatever type thing. And so at that point in time, I was like, this is really fun, have going through the creative process of writing a script, or even though it was just a silly script that didn't really, mean anything. It wasn't a personal. It wasn't a personal.
Well, it's just for fun.
It's like when I was a kid, I got attacked by turkeys one time.
Right.
I wanted to put that story out there.
I was like, did you really get attacked by turkeys?
To me, it just reminded me of WKRP in Cincinnati. Where they had
that's a great episode, So there you go. But it's just like that's what I liked about it. I mean, and this is horror related because this was kind of a horror movie that we were doing. So in the same respect,
totally.
We did a horror movie where we had the attack of killer turkeys at one time. So I'm just telling the audience about it. But that's what it is. We did it 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm. It's sort of in the vein of those 50s horror movies back in the day, like The Terror and Ants and stuff like Squirm.
That's why I pictured it. When I did it. That's why I edited it like that, because we all did it editing. Our own editing version of it, and that's what mine was. I was like thinking of
Food of the Gods is the best, though. Have you ever seen that? They get real mice and put them on model cars, and then they show this picture of these mice attacking like a model car, and then they have people on the inside of these horrible mouse bodies on the sides. It's just it's insane.
That's exactly what I figured that we could do.
But you guys knew it was funny.
Yeah.
Those people that made that movie.
It wasn't their idea. It was serious. That was like we gotta. This is art we're making. But like that's what that's what I wanted to have of this movie, is stuff like old movies, 50s movies, stuff like
Right.
that, where it's just like craziness.
I mean, I've always liked horror. I've liked horror and science fiction, like predominantly maybe more than other films, but there's some dramas that I love more than horror films I like. But I've always been fascinated by the mysteries of life, the things that might give you a notion or a hope that there's something beyond just these walls and human beings and, you know, what we're surrounded with all day, which is actually a miracle, I think. All this stuff is unbelievable that this even happened.
Right?
Most people don't even take the time to take that in.
The fact that we are even here talking
Yes.
right now.
Is
Who
amazing.
cares about the technology? Let's talk about us.
It's amazing, yeah. But it's amazing that this even is possible. And I think the world would be a better place if people took the time to recognize that. But that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. Horror fascinates me because it gives me, maybe in a weird kind of way, hope about there being more than this. You know?
Specifically,
So in a
not
way,
some
I'm pulling
things.
something good out of it, though it scares the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Like, I like the atmospheric horror movies. You know, I love Kubrick's The Shining. I like that slow, meditative something that it has that just pulls me in and scares me. I was a little kid when I saw the Room 237 scene. You know, and that, I was hooked. I was scared to death. I didn't know what it was I saw, but I really, really enjoyed it. And then I've seen, in certain kinds of horror I like over others, you know, slasher films are fine. They don't really scare me that much. Most slasher films I've seen have been almost on the verge of comedy, generally because of, unfortunately, like maybe some bad acting or some like, whoa, they didn't have any money for that, you know. Like, it's hard for me to be really, really scared of Freddy Krueger. He's almost, and I like Freddy Krueger, but for me he's more of like a loud cartoon that's kind of, he's kind of like a Loki character playing jokes on humanity almost in a certain kind of way. And I'm not really that horror scared by him. You know, there are a few jump scares in the movie that made me jump and stuff, sure, especially in the first one. But, you know, it just, those kinds of things don't bother me. What bothers me are the unknown power that you cannot control at all. It's going to grab you and take you wherever it's going to take you. You know, it's things like bringing down, what is the thing I'm scared of the most, is big empty voids. Because I think there's something huge that'll eventually come through the void at me. And that's what terrifies me.
Or just being in the void itself.
Yeah, no, yeah. Being surrounded 360, I think I would just die of fear or something, you know? So that's...
Nothing in sight, no one in sight.
Nothing.
Just,
you know?
endless nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty
It's
terrifying.
so like being like a diver in the ocean.
Ugh.
And being many, many fathoms down and all that, basically nothing around you, is a horrifying feeling for me. I like the idea of going to space, but I think it's horrifying. Like, I want to hug the ground, you know?
Yeah, you're definitely hitting a lot of fears of mine right now.
So that's sort of like where I'm coming from. I like horror aesthetically, quite simply, because I like shadows and I like these contrasts of light and darkness. So visually, I like how a lot of horror films are shot. But then some horror films are shot against that kind of notion, where it's all brightly lit and everything. So that can kind of work too for some things. You know, and horror is kind of a loaded question. You know, we're talking about like your film, like is Ghost Girl a horror film? Well, you could argue the point either way. I kind of label it in there because it's got a ghost in it, so it kind of is on the fringe. I would even say, even though it's totally a Christmas movie, is it a Christmas Carol? Yeah, Christmas Carol, where you have all these ghosts. There's some frightening, horrific things in it.
Yeah.
You know, what I never would call it a horror movie, really, or anything like that.
No, I never.
Also, like, you know, Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that. Is it a horror movie? It's kind of pushed that way. You find it in the horror section of the video store.
Yeah, I have seen it in horror section.
You know?
Well, I love movies that take pretty things and good things and turn them into horror, like Black Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, or Krampus, which is both Christmas, but I love Krampus.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it the other night.
Yeah.
Krampus is dope.
Right, I love the Krampus statues with the screaming,
Oh, God, yeah.
with the screaming kids in there.
You see on Facebook, yeah.
That's
Like,
awesome.
you know, we were watching, me and my girlfriend were watching it recently, and I was like, you know what I love about this movie? is just something of, and she was like, she said some big word, and I was like, I can't do this big word thing, but she's smarter than me. Anyways, I was like, I love the beginning where everybody's like running and it's Christmas and they're showing what Christmas is really like, which Christmas is supposed to be pleasant, about family, but this is really what Christmas actually looks like for most people. Black Friday, where everybody's running to try to buy presents for their, you know what I mean, or just Christmas Day.
Getting trampled to death.
Beautiful moment of that movie, and I love, there was something about that movie, the way, maybe it was the cinematography. Sometimes I'm still learning a lot about movies and what I love about them and them in general. But I feel like there's something that it's more than just the camera moving that I'm liking here, or the quality, and I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's the characters, maybe it's just the idea of it, the script. I don't know, but
the mise-en-scène?
Huh?
The mise-en-scène?
Probably the mise-en-scène, because that's the only way I know how to say it.
Yeah, no, that works.
Yeah, but probably anything that's in the frame, I love it. I love all of it. But yeah, I loved Krampus and Black Christmas. So you make a good point.
Well, that's why I was just thinking about, like we were talking about too earlier. What make? I mean, I want to say what makes a horror movie, but what does a horror movie scare you, or you just like basically the concept of horror? I mean, is there like a monster that looks? If it's a scary monster in there, does that scare you?
I think.
I mean, you said basically.
Early as a kid, I'm always attracted to that stuff. I can't. I don't really understand why. Like the first movie I saw was Star Wars. Who did I like? I liked Darth Vader, and those because I liked how they looked. It's something like that skull face. Something about that I just liked as a kid. And it could be contrasting, like how I was brought up, a lot of religion and that kind of stuff. Not that but they didn't try to make me change my mind or anything like that. They fed me, my parents and grandparents and stuff. They didn't have any problem with that. So
I mean, does anything scare you anymore? I mean, as much as if you watched a movie about a ghost or something like that,
right.
And then like that night when you went to bed and you maybe heard something in your house and it was just a creak of your house or whatever type of thing, would you get a little nervous or whatever? Or
it depends. I'm not saying that would never happen to me. Certainly happens to my wife. Then I'm the guy who's walking around.
Some people.
You're the guy that
but
die.
It doesn't affect you that way anymore.
I ruined myself young, and I said I'm not going to wash my eyes of any image, which I really regret. And then also doing stuff like going into scary abandoned houses. I did that for real, and I kind of maybe that in a way got me over some of the stuff. Honestly, I'm a dummy because the worst thing that could happen is pretty bad. It could have been a vagrant there who's I scared by accident, but he's got a knife he sleeps with every night, and something like that. You never know. I mean, I had some real life horror happen to me, not like in the vein of like bad news kind of stuff, but I went in. I walked into a house with a group. And I was dumb. I'm the first one going into any room. I don't have any flashlight. The person behind me's got the flashlight and stuff.
You got balls, Jesse.
And they went running away though. They're gone. I'm just kidding. But what's interesting is I went through the whole house, down in the basement, up into the kids' rooms, and then up into the attic, and then into the garage where the dad who killed his whole family supposedly killed himself and all this kind of stuff. Probably for real. I shouldn't have been there. And I go up through it, and it's got threatening spray paint everywhere, like warnings all the way up, which is kind of fun. You're in a real house. And then up in the attic is the worst. Too late now. All these kinds of words like that. On the floor it was written there too. It'd make a great horror movie. Just perfect.
Who is this at?
Somewhere
over there.
It's in Jamestown.
Jamestown?
In Greensboro, near Greensboro. Anyway, the house is gone. It's been leveled and it's all gone. It's a huge place. And I went back the next day, and you got to watch yourself because groups of kids constantly keep getting arrested there and stuff like that. It is a legend as far as like people going there and all that. It's in a ritzy neighborhood. You have to cross basically you walk across a golf course to get there and stuff. This is a long time ago too. Statute of limitations, 20 years ago. So, yeah. Anyway, we go back the next day, right? Really great idea, right? So we go back the next day and back it up a little bit. The night before, I went up into the attic. Well, it's a pull-down ladder thing. And so it was already pulled down, all in one piece, perfect. So I walk up there, look around, don't see anything. It's creepy. I'm feeling creepy the whole time I'm in there, you know. And so we come back the next day, and that little ladder going up into the attic was ripped apart. Pieces of it were all over the room. So that was kind of weird. Yeah. And the person I was with, it didn't help that she said she thinks something from that place followed me around after that for a while, for several years maybe. You know.
Wow.
So what I gained was just kind of like, okay, I'm still not really that scared of spirits and things like that. I'm kind of curious. I'd like to communicate in some kind of way because I don't know. Maybe I think I'm special, which is BS. But you know, I have that kind of feeling. But that was pretty weird. And then the other instance where I really got kind of creeped out, there are two. One was kind of UFO related. The other is I don't know what related. But I had a sleep paralysis experience. I only had one in my whole life. I've never had any others. But it's the thing, if I woke up in my bed, it was in my childhood room at my mom's house, and I noticed that I woke up, my eyes could open, but I couldn't move my body at all. And I know, like they say with your body does that so you don't hurt yourself when you're dreaming and stuff. I wish they'd tell some people though, because I keep getting an elbow in the face. But anyway, but what I saw when I could finally look at the foot of my bed, and I felt like I was conscious and awake, I was just couldn't move. And I had this sense of dread or fear in me, which is not something I'm used to having. And I looked at the foot of my bed, and there are these three figures leaning over and looming over and staring right at me. I didn't really see eyes, but I saw these little creases in a thing that was a head. Just these little like wrinkles. Just these wrinkled, mad-looking faces looking at me. They didn't say anything. It was kind of wispy. They looked like they had these sort of wispy robes on and just kind of big heads. And they were just like staring me down. And it was the most... If I had to say it, I feel silly saying it now, but if the presence of evil or whatever that is, it's sort of like, that's what my first definition in my head was. Okay, this is evil looking at me. But really it's fear of unknown.
Yeah.
You know. But all that was going on in my head is, okay, move your arm. Because I had a reading lamp right there next to my head. I just was like, it was all the effort in the world that I could muster to make my arm go up and cut that light on. As soon as I cut it on, everything was gone.
Right.
So that was a really weird experience.
And then you were completely awake at this point. You had been
totally
awake the whole time.
I feel like I had been, yeah.
So like, there had never been that eye-opening moment where you're like...
No, it was
you were literally,
Yeah, I cut it on, they were gone.
Weird.
Yes.
Weird.
You know, and you can see a little bit in the dark and stuff, and it's kind of, it's like if when you cut the gain up on a camera, it's all noisy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's how it was when I saw them.
Weird.
You know, and then it's like, well, it's just your brain putting them there and all that kind of stuff. It's just the dream stuff, and you're still in there. I get that. I'm fine with that. But I'm kind of also like, how come everybody's seeing almost kind of sort of the same thing? Why is that?
And then trouble people with sleep paralysis?
Yeah, but that's easily it's just sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I will admit, I've never had a sleep paralysis before, or what they call sleep paralysis, or I haven't felt that way anyway. If I did, that doesn't mean I hadn't had it, but I mean, I'm just saying I haven't felt that. But I haven't even seen but people who, I've known people who have seen something like you did. Sure. Something different.
That's an old story. The hagging, you hear that.
Yeah.
Different terms for it.
But I've never had, never had that. If I've had something scary happen to me, or it's always been like I've woken up from a dream or whatever, something like that. It's always been felt like a dream. Mm-hmm. So I've never really even questioned anything. Mm-hmm. But I've known people who are, like I said, who have said that same thing where they were woke up and they felt like somebody was holding them down.
Yeah.
And they
Pressure
kind
on
of
the chest
looked,
and
yeah,
stuff. I didn't feel that so much, but I felt like immobile.
And then they just felt that way and nobody was there. It was just they felt, or they felt, or they saw somebody, saw somebody, or whatever type thing.
Well, I don't see the dude with the hat, but I don't see that.
I think I've heard
Dude with the hat.
Saw like an older woman, and they were kind of like on top of them.
Yeah.
And they felt like they were holding them down, or she was holding them down, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that.
The succubus and incubus kind of are related to that stuff.
Right.
Is that a demon?
Mm-hmm. One's male, one's female.
And so that's what I've, this is all stuff I've heard from other people. But like I said, I've never had that happened to me before.
Right. You ever seen a ghost or something like that?
Actually, I haven't. Like I said, that video I told you.
That's right.
I still need to bring that videotape in.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have done that last time. This time.
That's right.
But I've taken some stuff and I've also taken some stuff where I could see orbs in it, because the ghosts don't sometimes appear as orbs, not just as spirit-looking people, whatever.
Right.
They appear as orbs too.
Ball of light.
And I have seen orbs in some of the video I've taken. Not the tape I'm telling you about,
Right.
but something else I've taken. Took some. I went on a ghost walk in Salem.
Yeah. That's
Massachusetts.
neat. Yeah.
And so I saw some orbs in there. Anyway, but scaring me, stuff does scare me. If I do watch, like I think I told you said something about watching a Conjuring 2, I think, because I have it on my DVR at home. I'm like, yeah, but I can't watch that at night. I can't watch that at night before I go to bed, because it's just like, I'm like, I can't. It doesn't bother me watching it. I'm not like,
sure.
I'm not scared, and I'm not like dying when I'm watching it.
Right.
It's just like later
Afterwards.
on, it sticks with me, and later on, unless sometimes I can watch a movie and then watch maybe a comedy show or something after that, or something light, really light.
Yeah.
And then that kind of gets it out of my head, and I go to bed, and I'm all good.
I can do either or.
But if I go if I watched a horror movie, right, and then went to bed or whatever type of, that's a different story. That's just like it's still in my head, and it's just like, now, like something like like you said, slasher movie or whatever, that to me is not as scary, because it cannot happen.
Sometimes it's
Jason can't attack me.
No. But Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer could.
Yeah. I mean, watching, like I said, sometimes those are the worst. I mean, I say the most horrific tales you can tell is
that stuff really happens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why Terrifier scared me.
It's horrible.
Even though at the end you could obviously tell he was not human.
I still need to see that. Yeah.
But
damn, sorry.
What was the
Terrifier.
Terrifier.
Oh, okay. But like Poltergeist, stuff like that can happen.
It got me. Yeah.
But Conjuring, stuff like that can happen.
It's based on real instances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, that can scare me. Now Poltergeist maybe not scary to me anymore, because I've seen it a lot of times. So I mean, it doesn't
that first time,
affect me as much. But like I said, Conjuring, something like that, I can, I'd have to watch that. I couldn't watch, or if I was gonna watch it at night, like I said, I'd have to watch a comedy show, or maybe even a comedy
You're hanging
movie.
out with a group of friends,
afterwards or whatever type of thing, to kind of clear my head a little bit.
You know what scares me? Final Destination. You know why? Because I have like a moment. When I was a kid, my mom used to go like on vacations and stuff, and she would go to like on the plane. So when I first watched the first Final Destination, the one with the plane, I was terrified. I was like, Mom, you're gonna blow up. You're gonna fall out you're gonna like slide out the side of the plane. You're gonna die. Well, me and my cousin were driving a couple weeks ago, and you were talking about realism, like real type stuff. I'm not saying that this was a ghost or anything. I'm saying it kind of felt like Final Destination type stuff, although I'm still here, thank you, Jesus. But we were going through train tracks. This was like actually months ago. We're going over train tracks, and right as we're going over the train track, the track thing that comes up went down on my car almost.
Oh, wow.
Like it was going down. We had to go, it just went up. I'm telling you, the thing just went up, and we're like, oh, cool, we're gonna go. The guy that was in front of us, not in front of us directly, that was going the same way as us, but that was waiting at the light, because the light was still red, but you could get over the tracks first. he was laughing and he was like, "Good job, you made it!" Like you could tell he was just like, "I'm glad you're like." We literally were this close. The train was coming, and that thing was coming down on our car, and it really felt like Final Destination. And we were both looking at each other like, "I cannot believe we just did not die." So it's moments like that scare me the most, more than it is things like ghosts and stuff. Although don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they don't scare me. I'm just saying like.
You don't run into them that as often.
I've never had a ghost experience. Not that I really want one. Some people are like, that's not good. Some people are like, well, that's okay. You know, you're just not special. But I've had moments in my life where I've questioned somebody that was not good was near me because they were listening, because they answered what I asked for.
Sure.
Because that was one of those moments where you're like, you think you want something but you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and it was something that doesn't really happen often to people. So that's how you know it's kind of like one of those. Someone was listening that wasn't good. It wasn't really a godlike type of person or being. So I've had little moments like that in my life.
I have had. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
No, you're good.
I just that's happened to me before. My mom died, and at her funeral, actually at her bedside when her deathbed, basically, me and my sister felt her around us. She was laying there. We were on each side of her. We were sitting them down, and we felt her around us, and we felt this warmth around us, like somebody, you know, just being around something around us. And at the funeral, my sister didn't feel this, but I felt it. I was crying at our funeral, and I couldn't stop. I didn't know what was going on, and then all of a sudden, this warmth came over me, and I stopped crying. I mean, it was almost like somebody told me to stop crying, and I went like that, this kind of like thing where I was just like, I'm bawling, and then all of a sudden,
it's almost like
tears dried. Almost my tears dried up, almost like that, like it said stop crying, or whatever type thing.
Yeah.
And it was just warmth. I can feel warmth in my shoulders.
That
and all
thing's
that
like
stuff.
things are going to be okay.
Yeah. That's why I felt, and it's almost like. It was weird feeling because it was like it was, and like I said, my tear ducts dried, and you really fast. I mean, it was just like somebody just put a spell on me or whatever type thing, if you will. But that's, I mean, I truly believe that was my mom.
Yeah.
Standing on me, and that I do. But at her bedside too, I felt a warmth coming from her too. And she'd already passed away at the time that this happened, or whatever. She was in a coma, basically coma. She had cancer, and she went into this coma at the very end. And she was in the hospital, of course. So she was on machines basically, and they turned off the machine. Because her cancer had really just gotten to the point where it was just incurable. She had gone through chemo treatments. She had had breast cancer before and survived, and and she was all good. But then
how long was she good for?
Let's see. She had gotten diagnosed with it right before I came back from Italy, so it had been 2006? No, 2008. She got diagnosed with cancer in 2008. She went to chemo treatments, like usual thing, and it went away, or the treatments were able to take care of it. And so probably from 2000, I'd say 2009. Let's say 2009 to 2015 or 2014, really, because it was almost a year she had the cancer. The cancer came back. And I think my mom knew it even then, until she was diagnosed with it again, but it came back with a vengeance, and she was able to. The cancer was so big, and she had breast cancer, but it wasn't quite in her breast or whatever. This time it was kind of in the middle right here, and it was so big. It grew that it was on her lungs too. It wasn't in her lungs. It was. On the outside of her lungs, crushing them.
Wow.
And so it made her almost have one lung to a point. She had to be on oxygen, and she was just like, they tried to put a stent in it to kind of help her breathe better or whatever type thing. And that was the worst thing that they could have done, quite honestly, because it was so bad that the way they had sent in that she made her cough constantly, and she coughed up the stent.
Oh.
You were really close to her.
And so she basically coughed up the stent. I almost want to, at the time, or at least not too long after that, we could have possibly tried to sue the doctor for doing that. But anyway, my mom didn't want to do that, or didn't say anything about doing that. But I bet you we could probably have gotten the doctor and could have.
Well, that kind of shows you that real life is more horrible.
Yeah.
Well, draw from
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can pull from that
we
stuff.
can pull.
You can.
But
Terrifying.
sorry, this was life, and it was terrifying, and it was horrific. And I thought after this point in time, I thought she was going to get better. I believe in it. I have faith. I'm not a religious person whatsoever, but for some reason, I had this.
We can be spiritual without following an organized religion.
I had this optimistic. Again, I'm not optimistic either. Mm-hmm. I'm not an optimistic person. I'm going the pessimist or I say a realist. But,
right, I dig that.
Yeah, but not pessimist or just say, oh, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's going to happen.
Pessimists don't want good things to happen. Almost.
Yeah,
I feel like realist or it's not going to happen because this is this. Right. They'll give you reasons why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
realists can still enjoy life.
Yeah, they can. Like I'm a realist.
Yeah.
For the most part. For the most part, like I really can't see. It's not that I can't see the good in things, but I look at both sides of everything, even religion, politics. Yeah, I'm one of those, which is why I can't think straight, and my brain hurts half the time. Is because I look at everything from more than one angle.
Well, this is a weird place to figure out. It's like, why is it being run this way?
But I still had this optimistic view of this situation that she was going to be cured and it was going to go away and we'll all be good, because that's what happened with her breast cancer. And she got cured and went away. This was the chemo treatments, none of them were happening, and they tried to increase the treatments to bigger, harder treatments, I guess you'd say, harder treatments on her, that she's basically wanted to die after them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that kind of thing. So she was suffering through that. So when she died, I of course was shattered, but at the same time too, I would not want her to be alive and suffer through that again.
It's not life.
That's why when she was on machines and she was in the coma or whatever, she was never, even if she came back to awakenness or whatever type of thing, she would have to be still suffering and do all that crap again.
Right.
And so, we kind of made, my dad had, I guess, made the decision or whatever. We didn't have a say. Well, I mean, we had a say. He did talk to all of us and saying, should we, this. And I mean, when you kind of look at situations, she was not going to never be the person that I grew up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but in this case anyway, I mean, not everybody's going to that. But I mean, not every situation is the same. But in this case, she was never going to be maybe even not even like a small portion of what I grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not even like, the same, never. But, and I know right now, as going through that experience, I know I don't want to live on machines.
No.
If I get to that point, and it's all going to be a machine, if that's the only thing that's keeping me alive is on machines, kill me, or do away with me.
I'll make a concession. If they give me a robot body and I feel amazing in it, I'll do that for a while.
Speaking of machines, that movie Cyborg.
With Van Damme?
Yes.
I like that movie.
I'm saying we're going back to horror. Cut it, connect everything.
Yeah. Were you going to go?
Oh, no, that's it. I'm good.
When, this is another parent dying of cancer story, but my father died of cancer. But he also got me into horror. He was the first one to give me like short stories of ghost stories and stuff. And some of the reading, actually I've probably gotten more fear from reading, so I should go back to reading one of these days. But like books have inspired me too. But going back to my dad, when he was dying, he would see an entity in the room with him. He'd ask my mom and the nurses, who's that standing in the corner? You know, it was somebody all in black. He kept thinking it was me. He kept calling it Jesse and stuff like that. You know, because I guess it was about the same height as I was and build and stuff. And, you know, it was interesting. And then he was talking about, he had some crazy dreams. Actually, my movie Cancer Dreams is based on 2 dreams he had when he was dying of cancer that he told me about. But he said when he was feeling really, really horrible pain, he all of a sudden every once in a while he'd feel this hand on his back. And it just said it immediately took all the pain away from him immediately. So it's sort of like maybe there was a presence there with him. My mom said she could feel it. My mom's seen ghosts. I've seen the sleep paralysis thing. I can kind of just throw that in the whole docket of, well, that's just scientists and researchers and doctors say, oh, that's just sleep paralysis. Yeah. Everybody feels that way. And I can deal with that. That's fine. Whatever. What is a dream, really? But I did see an actual apparition with somebody. Like I have somebody that saw it with me at the same time, which is pretty lucky. A lot of people don't get that thing happening. So I was in college. I was with my friend Dina, and we went and visited a friend of hers in Chapel Hill. And it's at night. We're hanging out on her friend's back porch, and we're just all chit-chatting and hanging out and stuff like that. Her friend was standing up talking to us, and behind her was the tree line. And it was just these apartment complexes, you know. It wasn't one house in the middle of nowhere or anything. It was in Chapel Hill. But anyway, while she's talking, and I guess maybe we're listening, maybe not, but behind her, there was this, I don't know how to explain it. There's a dude in a long white gown, barefoot, but it looked like he had a little crown on his head. He stepped out of the woods, and then he disappeared. He just faded away. Me and Dina both looked at each other at the same time and did a double take and looked back. I mean, that doesn't do that.
Okay.
That doesn't do that at all.
I mean...
No. I mean, that's a misconception. That doesn't happen.
It was... I do know that. It was definitely a joke. But that is insane.
It was. And but
insane.
It's cool when you have somebody and we both explained it to each other. And
yeah, you both saw it.
We saw the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So did it kind of feel like a God-like thing? Or...
No, just
you say
dude in a long white gown, barefoot, maybe had something on his head.
So not
look
Jesus.
Older. Who
knows what it was? Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so. He's a little too white. Jesus, honestly, he was Middle Eastern looking. He looked like somebody from the Mediterranean, and that I don't like this. You know, they always show pictures of Jesus like Jesus was not a Nordish dude with long. You know, anyway. Actually, it's a lot of the current drawings of Jesus in some churches are based on a Renaissance prince who was the son of one of the popes.
Oh, okay.
And he was an awful human being. He killed lots of people and all that kind of stuff. But they made his face. They built the artist at the time made Jesus in the likeness of that guy. Anyway, wow. A lot of stuff people don't know. But anyway, just that was a real kind of thing. I try to pull these actual experiences, which I feel lucky that I've had, and I can kind of put that into films. Like one of the features I'm working on is called Paralysis. I'm just writing it. I've only gotten, like on paper, maybe the first act. I've got notes and notes and notes about how it's going to play out. But I wanted to take that feeling of fear, that sense of terror that I felt in real life, and I wanted to somehow try to create that in this movie in a certain kind of way. And the story's all like totally different, and it's all weird and stuff like that, but that instance of having something in your bedroom that's just so weird.
Oh yeah.
You know, and scary, you know, I want to create that fear. I think there's something about fear I like. I think it's the rush of it. There's a energy pulse that goes through the body, and it's like your fight or flight kind of thing is going on.
It prepares you for real fear, real death, real life stuff. Fear that's probably why I like it, is that I don't have to worry about my other fears that are actually going to happen. I just have to focus on the ones that I make up for myself in my mind, or I watch through a movie. Like Jaws, I think the reason I'm so scared of, more than the reason they're scary looking as far as like sharks, is more so I'm scared of something I'm never going to have to encounter. even though I'm making up all these scenarios that I'm going to encounter it, and it's going to kill me and eat me, and I'm going to, you know, die from a shark, it's not going to happen, but why am I so scared about it? Why am I more terrified of something that isn't going to happen than I am of someone I love dying? Which is not true, I'm more scared of that. Mm-hmm. But I think about that more because it preoccupies my mind off the things that really are going to happen.
Did you remember ever seeing anything when you were really, really young, shark-related, that bothered you or anything like that?
It is so funny. No, I don't. I watched Jaws when I was a kid, so maybe it just triggered something in me. But right. I can also say this. I hate the fact of drowning. I love taking showers, don't get me wrong, right. But I cannot stand water. I don't mind getting in a pool, but you will not see me in the deep end. I can swim. I like swimming every now and then. I have a fear of drowning.
Is it sort of a claustrophobia kind of thrown into that too?
Yes, so they're in water. I also hate eating seafood, which is so funny. I do not do seafood. I don't really care about the beach. I'll go to the beach, but I don't care.
Right.
They all kind of have to do with the ocean.
Yeah.
And water and stuff. So maybe there is some link to that, but I do hate sharks.
Right.
So, like, and it's funny because I'll watch them. Like I said earlier, I'll watch them because that's the only thing that scares me the most.
Right.
Is just looking at their black eyes. It's like you said, the void. They look like a void. Like once you get lost in them, even the small ones. Mm-hmm. I can't even hold the jars with the dead sharks in it. I'll freak out.
But I know. But then you see the people who are petting them. And they're like rolling over like a puppy and getting scratched over the mouth. Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying I want to watch them get butchered. Even dead ones scare me.
Sure.
I don't even know how I'm going to ever work on a movie that's got a fake shark in it because I don't think I can do it.
You're gonna have to make a shark movie. You're just gonna have to do
it. look your fear right in the eye and take
it. Yeah.
So, just a little funny story, just real quick. Me and my girlfriend, we went to. Have you guys ever been to the Mexican border, the one that's in south of the border? Not the Mexican border.
I used to go to south of the border all the time. I used to live in South Carolina. So.
Oh, okay. All right, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. There's a shark there. Well, when we walk in to this place to go to the bathroom, she's like, "I want to go in here real quick. I had never been here before." I look in the back. I'm like,
shark in a tank?
What is that? Like, what is that? Because I could see it's huge. This ginormous shark, and apparently it's real. It was like stuffed or something.
Okay.
In the back, it was in a shop in the South Water. Right. I could have killed her. I was like, what did you do? Like, why? Like, she just lured me into this place where there's this. You don't expect a random giant shark, and the thing was huge.
Right. Does she know you didn't like sharks?
Oh
boy.
She knows me. Yes, but that's my shark thing. Yeah. So sometimes I'd rather be scared of something that's not going to happen than something that is, and focus on the things that you can't really control.
Those elements you talked about, though, like in the Jaws movie, the doll's eyes, the dead eyes, that kind of thing. But you could pull that into a monster movie that you do, or something like that, where a person has those kind of eyes, like a shark.
I didn't think of it like that.
You can pull little elements like that into your stuff.
I think that's what not as much as Jaws goes or shark goes, but eyes is my thing in a movie on because they always do little girl, if they have a little kid, they always make it differently. They do something around the eyes of the little child to make them look crazy or look very
in colored eyes and stuff.
Yeah,
also?
or something that would like make them really droopy looking or whatever.
Oh, where you see a little bit of
they it's nothing. See, what else was there? I was trying to think of. I mean, sometimes, and that's why some of the black and white movies can scare me because that's what they did. They did that in those with the makeup and everything in those movies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was when they did kind of like it had white makeup, so a lot of powder and all this other stuff, just the way they did makeup or whatever. And sometimes they can do around the eyes, and that makes them look really creepy, and it makes them like having bulging eyes or whatever type thing, and it made them
eyes.
Even though they didn't really want to do that, maybe, but that's what it made it look like they were doing. I mean, the original Phantom of the Opera with
Oh my gosh, that's still horrific.
with
Yes.
When he turns around and it's like,
with Lon Chaney.
Yep.
Still today, that creeps the crap out of me.
yeah, it's creepy, man.
And I've got the movie on DVD. I found it somewhere on DVD.
Put your mask back on, dude.
Really?
Put it back on.
I saw that. I don't know why my parents let me see that.
They made the new
when
one
I was a
cute.
kid. When I was a kid, my parents had got. We had a old film projector or whatever type thing at home, and that we could get film from the library. You could rent out. You can check out library films. I have no idea why we got this movie. We had that, the Phantom Opera. We had War and Peace. Again, I don't know why, but they got these two movies from the library,
Right.
and they put it in our projector, and they just ran it. And the War and Peace I never watched because we didn't have
It's a long book, long movie. It's all right though.
we didn't have for some reason we didn't have
Tolstoy.
sound on the stuff or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
I don't remember the whole thing. I think they may have been. Was the launching? Was that sound? Was that sound or not? I can't remember now. I haven't watched it in a long time. I haven't got it since I got that DVD. Believe it or not.
I think it was because it has a
I was trying to remember if it was silent movie or what. I don't know. But I remember him turning. Like I said again, with his mask coming off, and go,
Right.
I like that. That creeps the crap out of
It's
me.
Was
as a
that
kid.
not Lugosi? Not
Lon Chaney.
Lon Chaney. It was Lon Chaney.
Mhm.
Yeah. The
See, I do.
Man of a Thousand Faces.
I know or know of his maybe great grandson because he was stationed with me in Pensacola, Florida. His name was Lon Chaney.
That's crazy.
Because his last name was Chaney, and because then he said that's what scared. And I was not even 5 yet. I was like probably 3 or 4 maybe, and we were watching that, and it scared the crap out of me.
Because someone threw acid in his face a long time ago, and that's sort of for the story.
Yeah. I think some of this. I think Family Opera is kind of like different kinds of incarnations because sometimes it's been like some infection made them look bad or whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
It differs from story to story.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that particular one is the 1925. So a 1925 movie scared the crap out of me in 70.
For sure. But it's sometimes stuff is
Probably roughly 50 years later from that scared the crap out of me.
Do a little speculation with this movie. We're sort of at the end of World War I. You have a lot of people coming home with like holes in their faces, and they have those prosthetics that hide parts and stuff like that. I wonder because it's scary, especially little kids see somebody who's got a horrible war injury, like in a fake face, and it comes down, and you just see a hollow pit, or something like that,
You're probably scared of some people.
For sure.
But I think that's why, because like the original, original Dracula, the Nosferatu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
his
the
eyes or
creepiest.
whatever. It's just like that kind of thing the whole time.
I know.
Eyes for some reason always gets me.
Love that
you can Jason can take a axe and chop up 20 zillion people when I wouldn't budge a thing, but you just put some eye makeup around some eyes and it scare the crap out of me. And
I tell you what scared me. Mary Shaw from Dead Silence. I don't know what it was about her, but she terrified me. And I know this wasn't in the 20s or anything, so But when have you ever seen Dead Silence?
Mm-mm.
You never seen Dead Silence?
I have with the
The dolls.
Yeah.
So scary. It scared me because she was scary.
It's a little bit unknown, but it's part of the whole like.
Ventriloquist.
Yeah, but it's the people who did. It's James Wan and those guys did it. It's from a famous group of horror guys, and it was one of the early ones they did.
Well, they did a great job because they scared the crap out of me, man. When she fell out of the casket on the ground, the boy went down there to see what was on with her body, yada yada yada, and she's just sitting there like that, looking like a doll. She's scary looking in real life because she was on Orange Is the New Black as just like an extra,
Right.
or just one of the old ladies. Oh my goodness, I was still scared and she wanted makeup. I was like, why? It's kind of like the woman that played the nun. I'm not saying like she's horrifying looking.
No.
She ain't ugly or anything. I'm just saying she's got a very defined face, very strong. And that nose, they didn't put any makeup apparently.
Right.
On that nose, it's very out there. And so it's like I like when movies do that when they take actual people and they just kind of enhance what they've already got going on.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh, I didn't realize how scary you actually looked. But yeah, the dead silence. If you like scary movies, that was great.
Okay, Scary Ladies. I just have to bring this up. They're about to do a remake of it, Pet Cemetery.
What?
But my God, the lady's sister.
Rachel? No, Rachel was the main character.
Yeah, but her stories of her sister, that stuff scared the crap out of me when I saw
When she was in the bed?
Yeah, when she'd move really quick, it's like, get off of me, It's sort of that feeling.
Even the little boy, he was creepy. Not as scary as her sister.
Yeah, the kid was creepy, but the sister just and that was sort of not even part of the main deal. That was just kind of like a side story, but that, for me, was the creep. I mean, Pet Sematary is a downer movie. It's a great movie, but it's a downer movie. It's a depressing, spiral that you're going to go down.
I actually haven't seen it.
What?
I think you'd like it. The first one?
Oh,
I think it's good. It's a solid movie. It's solid.
Good Stephen King movie.
The second one's okay, but the first one's good. It was really good.
I really liked Fright Night.
Fright Night's a lot of fun.
It is.
That's a fun movie.
Are you talking about the original one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I like the new one, too, with, what's his name?
The new one was okay. I just...
It was new.
It was different. It was different to the point of, there were some things that changed from the original one that I liked better than the original one. It made more sense than the original one, where the newer one was kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. To me, the character, the Jerry, I can't remember his last name, but the main...
The vampire?
And the first one, Chris Sarandon played him. It made sense that women would be attracted to him.
Yeah.
He was a good-looking man, and he's very,
well put together.
Well put together. To me,
Colin Farrell.
Well, the way they had him in that movie, the way they had him,
they could have done
it. He didn't look like he looked like a guy who.
He's a good-looking guy. He wasn't.
Well, no, he didn't look good. To me, he looked.
They had him in shadow.
He looked trailer trash.
Really?
Yeah, he looked.
Yeah, he looked. He wore always like a.
Just sort of plain clothes.
Well, he wore oh golly, I'm trying to think of wife beater, what they call a wife beater type stuff.
Didn't Toni Collette play in that?
Yeah.
She's always the mom.
But
but
he had like wife beaters on. It looked like, and he was drinking beer. He looked like some guy from a trailer park or something like that.
Maybe that's
and he didn't look really
attractive.
They didn't look really attractive.
I saw it too.
Face.
I didn't hate the remake, but the first movie is just so pitch perfect on every level.
Yeah.
And it's some people today might think it's dated or not, but I'm just
there's some things. But
I think
what was his friend's name?
Evil.
I
That,
love that.
I know, and
he
that's
was
so.
great.
And it was so sad when he died. That was so heartbreaking when he died.
The original one, yeah. See, the original one, but I didn't like him in the second one. The character of
he's forgettable.
I didn't like it. Man, McLovin did not do a good job. Okay.
Yeah. That's who did it, McLovin.
Yeah.
McLovin.
It was written so almost like they were they had been friends. But see, that's not what it was. That's not what it was in the original one. The original one was they were friends, but they were still had
There's a little animosity between them.
But still they were friends. But this one was like they were friends because they were geeks together or whatever type thing.
Right.
And now. Because that's the thing about it. The main character kind of seemed like a jerk after a while because he forgot his old friends and he was trying to get in with the popular crowd or whatever.
True.
I mean that wasn't what the other character was doing in the original one.
The Burbs with Tom Hanks.
That's a great one.
I like that movie.
That's a great movie.
That was kind of horror.
Movie. It's kind of got horror.
It's got a lot of.
It's a light horror. It's a light horror.
Yeah. So like the Burbs, like they're it's been a while since I watched it. It was on Netflix for the longest time.
It's a great movie.
I love Tom Hanks.
That's actually the last movie me and my mom saw together.
Are you serious?
I mean, we'd seen it together. We'd seen it plenty of times, but it was one that it was it was the last movie we saw it. We saw it together.
Well, that's crazy that we've been talking about her. But that comes first full circle. I can't talk. But anyways,
I'm sorry.
So like, no, you're kind. When they with all the neighbors, my favorite thing is not aside from the horror thing, is with the fact all the neighbors had like this really great thing going together. And, they're all like, I wonder what's going on with this guy next door, which reminds me of Fright Night, but more so not everybody's involved, just the guys next door.
It
Charlie.
reminds me of Poltergeist to a certain degree. Too.
Yeah, they all
There's a lot of neighbor stuff going on.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like the birds. A lot of people look down on the birds.
I think it's great.
think it's hilarious.
It's funny. It's totally misunderstood.
It is.
Totally.
Because even I mean, I can't. I mean, like I said, it's a great movie because it's kind of it's like spoofing a neighborhood, but it's almost like a neighborhood too. I mean, it's like it's not necessarily spoofing. It's kind of
it's just
like quirky
enhanced
neighbors, and it's like real. I mean, it's like real life too. I mean, it's just like really. I mean, not the crazy neighbors or the bad neighbors. I'm talking about like the people that in general in the neighborhood. I mean, there's stuff people. You have all kinds of different people in neighborhoods or whatever, where it's like quirky people or whatever type thing. So it's funny to watch it because there's somebody that always is. I mean, you can tell that whoever wrote it, that at least probably living in a neighborhood with some quirky people around or whatever type thing. And
sometimes I wonder what
Joe
is going on
Dante
around my
was
house, like neighborhoods wise, like neighbor wise.
well, and how you think about your neighbors too. You see a neighbor down the street lives in a house, maybe doesn't do their lawn very much, doesn't take care of their lawn or whatever type thing, and you say, "Oh, that's a weird neighbor. Don't go down there." And
Well,
type of thing.
that must be what they say about me then.
Maybe. Burbs. That's not the wrong. That's not 2002.
Yeah.
The Burbs.
Weird.
I just love the feel of that movie. Good.
And I spelled it right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did.
Wasn't it Joe Dante who
Here
directed
we go, 1989.
That's it.
Jeez, no wonder he looks so young.
Yeah.
I love.
Carrie Fisher was in it too. As played his wife.
That's right. Bruce Dern,
Carrie Fisher. Yeah. Tom
Corey
Hanks.
Feldman.
Yeah. And the guy who played.
My gosh.
The guy who played
Jesse. I'm so sorry. I gotta say this. Corey Feldman. He was in this short movie. I don't know if you've watched it. What was it called? The Splattering or the something? It's on Netflix and it's a B-rated movie. Just like 30 minutes long. You gotta watch it. Can you click on Corey Feldman when you get the chance? By the way, because I want to see what it's called.
The guy.
To watch it.
The actor. Before we get out, I want to see the Rick Ducommun.
Butler.
He played Art or whatever. He's a great actor. He's always good in everything he shows up in.
It's the most recent one he did, I think.
Is he an actor?
Yeah, he's the main actor and it's a short.
What's it called?
I don't know, the stabbing or the splattering. It's a short. It's on Netflix.
Oh wait, it's pretty recent. There's
Yeah,
probably all
like,
features here.
No, actually, you know what? I think it did come out a couple years ago. Maybe I was wrong, but it wasn't that long. It was like 2011 or something like that. Maybe it was like 9. I don't know. But it was like one of those movies. It was so. Do you like Corey Feldman? I love Corey Feldman. Like from
I mean, I like
movies.
Splatter TV series.
That's a TV series.
Yeah, TV series.
Are you serious?
And he plays
Or was it TV?
Johnny Splatter.
Okay. I was wondering why it felt so TV-like, but it
10 episodes, so
it was-
probably just one season or something like that.
Okay, it was so bad. That's why I liked it. It was so bad.
It must have been.
I made such a.
I never heard of it. It might have been on that. There used to be a channel. I'm not sure if it's still out there. It may be still out there called Chiller.
Yeah.
And it was like a horror, channel or whatever. It might still be on. It may be still out there. I'm not sure. But I used to have it. I don't think I have it anymore. But it used to be out there, and they just show you all horror movies or whatever type
like
thing.
the Tales of the Crypt and
that
stuff.
sounds like something that
was
would have been on there or whatever.
Right.
He was in an episode of that years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But
just for that.
but The Burbs, I mean, is a great movie to watch. I mean, it's crazy. And
I didn't see it when it first came out. I'd seen it probably for the first time in the last 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I saw it when it first came out on videotape. I didn't see it.
It was one of those
theaters.
cool movies all the cool kids went and saw, and I didn't get to because.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I heard people was like badmouth it so much. I'm like, that's a great movie, and it's like I've heard people badmouth it because they think because Tom Hanks went through a period of time where he was like doing
big movies.
any movie he could do it or whatever type thing.
What, the volcano one? What was that?
Joe versus the volcano. I mean, he
Yeah.
did all kinds of. Because he said I heard him in an interview say I went through a period of time where I just basically took everything I could or whatever
Why?
type thing.
He was amazing.
Well, this was before he was
got
Tom
me.
Hanks. This was before Philadelphia, before all this, before
This is
before
the man-
Big.
This is probably right after the Man with One Red Shoe. And,
Yeah, but
around
this is
about
before.
that
This is
time.
before.
Slash, maybe.
This is before Big. I mean, it's kind of. I think Big you can throw in there too
Yeah.
because it kind of all kind of meshed together.
Splash and One Red Shoe kind of popped him up there a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
And so but he was doing anything. That's why he was in some movies that wasn't so great,
Right.
some okay.
Right.
But that was kind of one of the things because he had been out of. He went big. He did Big after Big. He kind of went down. You didn't hear much about him. He's been in some movies after
Spielberg
that.
really brought him back, kind of hardcore with Saving Private Ryan, kind of. He did some other stuff, Philadelphia.
Well, yeah, that was before. Oh, I mean, I'm talking about trying to think, League of Their Own.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's
Great
kind of
movie.
brought him because he hadn't been in the top movie star in a while, and that kind of brought him kind of back into everybody's.
It's so crazy how the woman that played her older version wasn't her for years. I watched it twice. Like,
I thought that too. I believe it or not, I thought that too when I first saw that. And when I first saw it, I thought that was.
Did they use her real voice?
It used her voice.
They used her
They
voice.
used voice, but the woman was the older woman.
I was gonna say, there's no way in hell that's that woman's voice. There's no way. 'Cause
Yeah.
It sounds just like her.
I thought it was her made up.
Yeah.
Right.
It looks identical. I was like, oh my gosh.
But anyway, back to horror. I'm sorry, we went off really on a tangent there. But but like I said, that's a good movie. It's kind of harsh, like I said, like horror type thing.
Yeah.
But he did also do a movie which is kind of horrorish called Mazes and Monsters, this is going back right after he did, but right
that's
after
really
it was
old.
during Bosom Buddies type frame or whatever type thing.
That was about the D&D game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks wasn't really in that many scary movies.
No, that's what I was trying to figure out. Something that relate to horror to him or whatever.
Right.
And that's the only other one I can think of
My
that
favorite
maybe
Tom
became
Hanks
his.
is Castaway.
I have not seen that movie.
You haven't seen Castaway?
It's good. It's a good movie.
I should check it out.
Yeah, you should.
It's very
I'll
interesting.
check it out.
Kind of very, kind of a one man show type piece or whatever type thing. Very.
I'm down with that because that means your budget gets chopped.
Yeah, it does.
Give yourself one really great actor.
There was a lot in the beginning. It's a long movie, so there's a lot of actors.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
they're very small parts.
But
Like
right.
The majority of it,
who
he's
was the
on
woman
the own.
that was in What Women Want
Um,
or What Women Think. Also in Twister.
Yeah.
Blondie.
Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt's in it.
Oh,
Yeah. But
Yeah, she's kind of been out of the
I know I miss her.
limelight for a while.
I love Helen
I
Hunt.
wasn't really a big fan. But anyway, but she's a
As good as
but,
it gets, was one of my favorites. So.
But
I love that movie.
but yeah, I was trying to think of another horror movie that he was in, so we can go into it. But that Mazes and Monsters was the closest one I could think of.
Yeah.
But
not a lot.
But I just, like I said, horror. At one time, horror wasn't my number one go-to as much as movie genre goes. I mean, I liked sci-fi, I liked that kind of stuff, but I just didn't really get, because most of the horror they were putting out for periods of time were slasher movies, and those got old after a while too, and it just like constantly that. I did like the Scream series, believe it or not. I know a lot of people like the first one, but a lot of people don't like the second and third one. I like the whole. I mean, there's a fourth one too. The fourth one, that one was a little bit low.
Right.
But the first three, I think, are really good.
Here's my thing about those movies. I don't dislike those movies, but for me, they're not scary to me at all.
No.
It's more about like, okay, I dig this dialogue. That's
Yeah.
kind of funny. They got the guy with the knife.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary,
You
but
should jump a little.
I'm not that. Yeah, it's jump. They use sort of the jump scare technique and stuff. The first one I really enjoyed the story, but I was cool with the couple after that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. Yeah,
it's more of a less of a horror to me. And somebody was they again, like I said, the podcast I listened to, they were listening to they talk about the whole series of something or whatever. They did talk about Scream, and they came up with the concept of the first three anyway are more of a murder mystery.
right. Yeah.
Who is
That's it.
I like
Who done it?
and that's why you hadn't seen that in a while, or you don't see that many movies of them that are out there that it's a murder mystery where who did it. You know, here's the suspects. Who's doing it? You
That
know,
was
who's
my
not,
favorite thing
that kind of thing.
to do about it. To when I watched it, because I have the whole series of Scream. Like I was a kid when I was obsessed. You make a point. The only reason I remember love watching it and kept watching them even after I watched them once was to see all the clues that kind of led up to the people that killed.
Yeah,
You know, that
I mean, it's that's the thing. I mean, I like them. The part is really suspenseful. Is the first part of the first one where Drew Barrymore is getting attacked of Ghostface.
Yeah.
The rest of it's kind of like a little bit more cheesy, or I would say lighter fare, if you will, after that. But that to me was
that was an intense
heavy,
thriller
intense scene
yeah.
because it showed her being attacked by them, but also at the end she's hanging there dead or whatever. Like she's calling for her parents who are on the phone, and she's dying, and they're right there, and she's like struggling talking to them because she's being killed at the time. And that to me was really intense scene.
Yeah, that was a really well put together scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like they really did that whole thing to really start it to really on a major.
Wes Craven's sort of a hard one for me. I like him. He's considered one of the masters of horror. I get it. Some stuff he experimented here and there with stuff. It's weird. Like there's one movie of his. I either love it or I hate it, and I have these kind of feelings about it. It's called not Beyond the Black Rainbow. It was the one about voodoo. Do you remember?
Skeleton Key? No, not Skeleton Key.
Ghost in the Dark.
No, that's the Lions. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Anyway, I mean, I like this. Like I said, the first three Screams I think are really good.
I like the fourth.
Serpent in the Rainbow.
That's what I was thinking. Serpent in the Rainbow. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that one I saw once.
Sometimes I love it.
That's all I
saw. First saw it, I loved that movie. Then I saw it again and I hated that movie. Then I saw it again and I loved the movie.
I didn't.
It's just really strange.
I saw it once and I was done.
No, I got it.
But I think the first three Scream movies. The fourth one is
right.
For fans, it was amazing. We were all sitting in the theater like, yes! Like I was so happy.
It's okay. It's okay. It's more, to me, it wasn't as good. To me, it was the other ones where it had better
right.
a better formula, if you will, or whatever. The other one, this was. I understand but I think it had been too long between the third one and the fourth one. It'd been really just like. It's like they said, okay.
It was the 90s.
Yeah, it'd been too long since the one, so they had to do something different because they said, okay, what's been the horror since then, and da da da.
Well, I like that the cast that they had, like Emma Roberts, she always kills it. Emma Roberts was good.
I think with horror, I'm looking for something to actually scare me.
Yeah.
And I guess because of what I've done to myself, I'm a little bit hard to scare.
That's why I was asking.
My wife hears a noise at night, she'll be scared.
Yeah.
I'm going to go outside and see what the hell it is. She's not going to let me because in all the movies, that dude always gets killed.
See, I'm surprised.
So she's like, you're an idiot for going out there. So
does she say?
Yeah, but you know.
Or does she say, while you're going by past the fridge, could you get me a drink or something?
That happens too. But that's usually when yeah. If it's something in the house, it's just like, oh god. We had a possum break into our house, so there were a few harrowing times. Finally got rid of it after a year and a half, but you know.
What?
It took a while. We didn't know what it was for a long time, and then I saw it a few times, but I'm like, okay, I didn't see that, and then. But it was a little possum.
At least you didn't have any animals, because I would have been scared.
I had 3 cats.
Oh.
And they're all they're not gonna mess with the possum. They're just gonna watch it from far away. It's like, I'll mess around with that. You know. But finally, I trapped it a few times and got it outside the house, and then finally trapped it and gave it to the landlord, and he took it to a good, safe place. It didn't hurt the animal or anything like that. But yeah, they got some nasty teeth.
Yeah, they're scary.
And I'm still trying to get the smell out of my bathroom because I locked them into the bathroom, and you know.
Are you serious?
Possums do what they do in there, and I'm still trying to scrub everything. It's like, it's clean, but it's like, it smells a little wild in here.
How long ago was that?
We got rid of it this semester.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought it was like a while.
But I think it had been messing in the house since maybe we moved in, but it got trapped and wasn't able to get out, but it came in through the floorboards in the kitchen and other places and stuff like that. Little true life horror story there.
But I mean, like I said, I think there's just a little tag on the or the button on the screen anyway. For me, anyway, it's just I think those three worked well. You saw the spoofing of all the horror stuff. Like don't go upstairs doing this and all this other stuff, and I thought it was really good at the time. And all in all, I thought they were good movies. Like I said, Wes Craven, I hadn't seen. I mean, I might look as as writing the writing stuff, but I can't remember now. But of course, he did Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, and which I think is okay, but I don't.
I think Nightmare Detective is a much better film about that kind of thing, but Freddy Krueger is such a, and yeah, I know Nightmare Detective, no one knows what that movie is. It's a good movie though, but I think it was the first kind of foray into this dream entity guy that can kill you,
Yeah.
And that's sort of what the horrific thing was. And for me, the terror more with Freddy is like trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
And then how you start to hallucinate anyway, and it kind of plays with that.
Yeah.
He would hate having me to torture because I would have been dead already. Like in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't stay awake.
I still think Dream Warriors was the best one of those.
That's my favorite too. Yeah, and it's not necessarily that scary, but it's a good story.
Not really.
Dream Warriors, the third one.
The third one.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. That's the one that's more so. It's more because I own all of them, like literally every single one.
It's the kids that go to the. It's not an asylum.
Yeah, they're in the
whatever it is.
Mental hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the best.
Yeah, that one. I like it because it connects. Because like I said, I've always been a superhero fan or whatever, and they got powers and all that. That connected with me. Hey, they go in dreams, and I think we talked about that on the way home last week.
Yeah, and I love docking, so it just kind of worked out.
Docking?
The band.
They sing the song for it. I can't remember the rest of the name.
How long are we going for now?
But
we are at an hour and 21 minutes, so trying to think of other stuff.
I mean, we can always bring up more in another.
Right.
Like I said, if we're gonna do kind of a theme,
Horror-tober.
Yeah.
Last little thing, I've got a few of the films I work on. They're kind of all over the place as far as genre, but I do have some horror films out there. One's called The Corner. I was the director of photography and editor on it, and it was done by Jason Buterin through Mad Ones Films. But it is still going strong in the festivals. I'm going to another festival tomorrow. I think it's called the Horror Freak Show or something like that in Clemens, which is a tiny little town next to Winston-Salem.
Nice.
But it should be pretty fun. Going to watch a lot of short horror films, and it's on the last block. I'm getting used to this whole going to screenings thing. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do.
Why?
I don't know why. I feel like a rat in a trap in a screening room sometimes, but I'm getting over that, and I also bet business Jesse needs to take over and be there and not be so squirrely. I need to talk to people and be an extrovert that I'm not. But so I'm going to go and do that, and of course our filming until the last block. So I got to be there from 5 to like 10:30 or something like that. I'm like, oh god, okay. I think my wife's going to go with me, so at least I'll have some company. But it should be interesting. It's really cool to see these Mad Ones films kind of still going strong. I shot it the year before last, and it's been winning and stuff. And then we got another one called Killing Giggles, which is also out there. It's really more of a teaser short film for the feature we're doing about a serial killer that kills clowns. But it's doing pretty well too.
Cool.
Which is kind of cool. But then I go to these festivals, and the thing is, the competition is strong these days. There's a lot more people making movies, and there's a lot of really good stuff being made.
Yeah.
A lot of great stuff that's going to make it into these fests that no one's ever going to hear of. So
I know,
that's kind of the sad part. You can't think about that as a filmmaker too much. You just got to keep going.
Hoping that if you have an end point that you're going to get there, but have fun on the way.
And I've been directing and shooting and editing a lot of other people's stories, and I'm ready to do some of my own again.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of writing, but I haven't found one that I want to do. I got one actually that's all horror. It's 4 short stories it's a 15-minute horror anthology, and it's 4 stories. It's real compact, But I'm looking forward to that one too. And off camera, I'll tell you guys what that one's about. It's pretty neat though, and it's all different kinds of
I look forward to
flavors and horror in it that I kind of. Yeah, it's kind of pulpy, but
I love stories.
It's kind of fun.
Little stories, they're the best.
Yeah. So you guys good?
Yeah.
I guess we're kind of here at the end of episode 6. So tune in next time when we're back, and leave us some comments and stuff like that, and we will get those.
We'll be gone for a week though. We won't be.
Yeah, we're gonna probably skip a week. We've got some vacation time coming up, and then we'll be back in a few weeks. So it'll give you plenty of time to catch up on our episodes, and be sure to leave us some comments, and we'll talk about them. Take care, everybody.